this is very interesting because he, in conjunction with being a chiropractor, he also trains elite athletes, UFC fighters, NHL, MLS, and CFL athletes. I mean, that is tough. We know what we have to offer here, right? But how do you approach this great athlete and say, you know what? I can make you a superstar. I can make you a better athlete. I mean, that to me is a hard sell. When you're talking to somebody who's got 8% body fat or maybe a little bit better, you can improve that. How do you do it? How do you go about it? How do you approach them?
It's a great question. I really try to keep it simple. And two strategies, or one major strategy I use that, Zach was talking about today and Mike Dallaire was ask questions, that of interest to the person, to the athlete you're talking to, and listen. And see what they're looking for, and try to listen to what they're asking for. They want to put lean muscle? Do they want to take body fat off? And when you find out what their goals are, then you'll see clearly where the isogenic systems can come into place. And for high performance athletes, because sometimes they're very superstitious, sometimes they don't like to change routines massively, I do the less is more kind of design. So I'll give you an example. I had a competing CrossFitter come into my office, and I reviewed his program, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And he basically said to me, Paul, I need to put lean muscle mass on. I need to get stronger, but I want to keep my six-pack. I need to stay lean. How do I do this? And I reviewed his program. There's I had about 14 suggestions I wanted to do, but I only did one. And that's all we did. We just changed his proteins. Simple as that. We swapped out the proteins for the ones he was using, and we put our Isagenix Isoline Pro in. It's that simple. And when they start to feel the change, the improvement in recovery and growth, now you've got trust. Now you preface it by saying, hey, this is the step 1 of step 14 or step 3 or step 5 or however you want to say it. There's other things that we can do to move forward. And all of a sudden, they're now coming back to you and say, hey, I want to look further into this. You've got their trust. And now you can open them up and say, okay, we're going to do an advanced program right now. We're going to do the Isoline Pro. We're going to do IsoPro on top of that. IsoGreens, Ionic Supreme. 1 hour later, we're doing a second post-workout shake. We're putting 8 grams of protein in 2 hours. And they're going, really? I said, let's go. And next thing you know, he put 16 pounds of muscle on in 6 weeks and wins his CrossFit tournament.
Awesome.
So there are a lot of strategies we can do, but I highly suggest that you start slow in a high performance athlete. If an athlete is really looking at power to weight ratio and saying, I'm very strong, but there's just unwanted body fat. One of the best things I love doing is our deep cleanse, our 48-hour cleanse system. Our 30-day, weight loss cleanse program is still an unbelievable program for the elite pro athlete. I still suggest it. I put them on that. And when they start getting that body composition change, when that growth hormone goes up, 1,000% in the first 24 hours and 2,000% in the second 24 hours, and they get even leaner than they were before. They didn't think it was possible. I said, now watch, you took 3-4 pounds off. We can replace that now with muscle. This is, power to weight ratio is a very, very important concept in elite and pro athletes. Isagenix has systems built in or options for us